This is a much easier way to vet my victims. Time to hear the tale of Rapunzel.
All right, I hope you like my little movie, Mr. Prater. Scary.
It finally happened. Al knows Dexter Morgan's darkest secret. For 7 episodes, we thought Al was nothing more than comic relief. A bumbling serial killer dad with a fanny pack and corny jokes. But in episode 8 of Dexter Resurrection, the truth began to surface. Al isn't clueless. He isn't naive. He knows Dexter killed the entire serial killer club, and he just might be the most dangerous person Dexter has ever faced.
Ponytails. Al's fetish. His need. He's going to kill this woman on camera, and I have to sit here with these monsters while they enjoy every fucking minute of it.
But how did Al, the unlikeliest member of the Killers Club, piece together what even Batista and the Miami police never could? And what does this mean for Dexter's future? Let's break it down. Episode 8 sets the stage with a moment fans almost overlooked. Dexter calls Al, pushing him to meet up after the Hamilton play.
Hey, Red.
Hey, Al.
How you doing? You know, I've been meaning to check up on you.
You wanna grab a drink tonight?
Oh, pal, I would, but you know what? I'm seeing Hamilton tonight.
On the surface, Al plays along. He says he'll be there. But when the play ends, Dexter is outside waiting. And Al never shows.
Rapunzel, Rapunzel, where the fuck are you?
Instead, Al gives Dexter the excuse that he left halfway through.
I'm so sorry, Red. Hamilton, not what I signed up for. You know, it's a rap show. I couldn't understand a damn word they said. Total waste of money. I took off at intermission.
But here's the kicker. The more you look at it, the more it feels like he was never there at all. He didn't flake. He vanished. He slipped away from Dexter entirely, and slipping away from Dexter is almost impossible. Dexter's reaction tells the story. He's furious. Not just disappointed, furious. And then comes the detail that changes everything. As soon as the call ends, Al tosses his phone out the window, cutting all contact with Dexter for good.
Take care of yourself, okay, pal?
That single move isn't random. It's calculated. It's the move of someone who knows exactly what kind of predator is on his tail. For weeks, fans bought into Al's image as a goofy, harmless dad. The guy with cargo pants, a fanny pack, and an endless supply of corny dad jokes. But episode 8 flips that narrative on its head. Because here's the truth. Al's bubbly personality isn't who he is. It's a mask. Think about it. This man has been hiding in plain sight for years, evading suspicion from his family, his community, and even law enforcement. That's not luck. That's skill. That's calculation. It's the exact same trick Dexter used during his years in Miami. Be friendly. Be relatable. Make people underestimate you. That way, when bodies start piling up, you're the last person anyone suspects. And if Al's cover story sounds familiar, it should. He's almost a mirror image of Arthur Mitchell, the Trinity Killer, a family man, outwardly wholesome, who secretly lives a double life as a murderer.
I was wrong. Trinity's a husband, a father. He's like me.
Fans have been quick to make the comparison, and it makes sense. Trinity was widely considered Dexter's greatest villain. The writers know that. They're deliberately laying the groundwork. And Al's survival in episode 8 might be the clue that he's destined to play that same role in Resurrection. Because here's the key point. Killers don't survive Dexter. They never have. The table is always final. And yet Al walked away. That alone proves he's more formidable than he first appeared. So how exactly did Al connect the dots? It comes down to 3 critical details. First, he's the last man standing. Every other member of the serial killer club is dead. The pattern is too obvious to ignore, and Al knows it. Second, Dexter pushed too hard. His constant invitations, his insistence that they meet after the Hamilton play, it all set off alarm bells. Serial killers operate on instinct, and Al's instincts were screaming that Dexter was circling in on him. Third, and most important, was Al's reaction. Tossing the phone wasn't just paranoia, it was self-preservation. A final break with Dexter before it was too late. And that act speaks volumes. Al knows he's in danger. The bubbly act? Gone. The clueless smile? Fake. For the first time, we saw the mask slip, and the cold, calculating man underneath. And if Al really knows that Dexter killed the rest of the club, then this isn't just about survival anymore. This is about revenge, about evening the score, and that makes him a threat unlike any other.
They all have to die. I need to sever all ties to this group as soon as possible. But right now, I have to convince them that I sever innocent people's heads.
When Al drove off at the end of episode 8, it wasn't a goodbye. It was a promise that he'll be back. And when he returns, he won't be the goofy side character anymore. He'll be the villain. Fans are already speculating that Al will become the Trinity figure of Dexter. Resurrection, the family man with a dark secret, the mirror to Dexter himself. And let's be honest, that dynamic is exactly what made Season 4 the greatest in the franchise. If the writers play this right, Al could become Dexter's most dangerous enemy yet. Because unlike Batista or the police, Al doesn't need proof. He doesn't need evidence. He knows the truth. And that knowledge makes him lethal. Think about the stakes here. Dexter has always stayed one step ahead of law enforcement, but facing someone who operates like him, someone who knows how he thinks, how he hunts, how he kills, that's a different battle entirely. And that's why fans are convinced Al isn't gone. He's being set up for a major role in Season 2, a role that could push Dexter into the most dangerous chapter of his life yet. For years, Dexter has lived by one rule: stay invisible. Keep the dark passenger hidden. But Al changes the game. Because Al isn't chasing him with a badge. He isn't chasing him with warrants or evidence. He's chasing him with understanding. Al knows what Dexter really is. He's seen the pattern. He's felt the danger. And unlike cops or detectives, Al doesn't need to play by the rules. He can move in the shadows, just like Dexter. That's what makes this twist so terrifying. For the first time in Resurrection, Dexter isn't just hunted by law enforcement. He's hunted by another predator, one who knows exactly how he thinks. And that's why fans are drawing the inevitable comparison to Arthur Mitchell. Trinity forced Dexter into a war he barely survived, and Al could easily play that same role in Season 2. A family man on the surface, but underneath, a relentless enemy who knows exactly how to strike. So what happens next? If Al really knows Dexter killed the entire serial killer club, then every move Dexter makes from now on is under threat. He can't relax, he can't hide, because Al is out there waiting. And here's the thing, Al's survival wasn't an accident. The writers didn't let him walk away by chance. They've built him up for something bigger. Al might have just gone from comic relief to the single most dangerous threat in Dexter's new life. And that changes everything. So here's the question. If Al really knows Dexter's darkest secret, what's his next move? Does he disappear forever? Or does he come back for revenge, ready to expose Dexter for what he really is? Drop your theories in the comments, and if you're still watching, type Al knows down below so I know who the real Dexter fans are. And remember, tread lightly.
Harrison thinks he's finally found love. In Dexter, Resurrection, his connection with Gigi feels like the one thing pulling him toward a normal life. But what if that love isn't what it seems? Because some fans believe Gigi is hiding the darkest secret of all, that she's the daughter of the New York Ripper. If that theory is true, it would mean Harrison and Gigi are bound together not just by romance, but by blood. Both of their fathers could be serial killers. And that shocking possibility changes everything we thought we knew about the show. So what's the truth? Is Gigi really the Ripper's daughter? And if so, what does that mean for Harrison's future? When Gigi first appeared in Episode 7, most fans assumed she was just Harrison's new love interest, a character designed to give him stability in a world full of chaos. But for longtime Dexter viewers, that immediately raised a red flag. because this franchise has a history of introducing seemingly innocent characters late in the story, only for them to hide massive secrets. Think back to Season 1 when Rudy Cooper turned out to be Brian Moser, Dexter's own brother and the ice truck killer. Gigi's timing feels like deja vu, and that's why the theories around her exploded so fast. The most suspicious detail is her injured arm. She laughs it off, blaming a recent motorcycle crash, but the vagueness almost feels deliberate. Why bring so much attention to a wound if it isn't hiding something bigger? In Dexter, details like this are never random. It may not explain why the Ripper stopped years ago, but it could be the writers planting a seed, a hint that Gigi's past isn't as clean as it looks. Then there's her eerie connection to Harrison. Within moments of meeting him, she somehow recognizes he's an orphan. That's not normal intuition. That feels like lived experience. Like she too grew up with the scars of a broken family. Fans have pointed out that Gigi's quick insight could signal her own ties to foster care or orphanhood, the same world where Harrison has always struggled to belong. But here's where things get even darker. The Ripper's voice, revealed in Episode 7, was clearly male. Or was it? In an age of voice changers, AI tools, and deliberate misdirection, the idea that the show gave us a male voice might just be a trick. After all, Gigi being a woman would make her the perfect misdirect. By hiding behind a fake male voice, she could have kept suspicion away from herself all along. And then came Episode 8. Harrison and Gigi's relationship moved forward quickly, maybe too quickly. We saw them spend the night together in a hotel, and the next morning, Harrison woke up, opened the curtains, and smiled at her sleeping by his side. It was one of the few moments in his life where he seemed truly happy, almost like he was free from his father's darkness at last. But that's exactly why it felt like a setup, because in storytelling, when a character finally finds peace, it's usually the calm before the storm. Episode 8 hammered that theme home. Multiple killers, from Blessing to Al to even Dexter himself, talked about keeping their secret lives away from their families. But those walls are crumbling fast. And for Harrison, that means his new love might be dragging him back into the very world he's desperate to escape. Think about the parallels. Harrison is haunted by his father's legacy as the Bay Harbor Butcher. Gigi may be haunted by the legacy of the New York Ripper. Put them together, and what do you get? Two kids born in blood, unknowingly recreating the same tragic cycle. Their bond isn't just attraction, it's recognition. A killer sensing another killer. And that's exactly what makes this theory so terrifying. If Gigi really is the Ripper's daughter, then Harrison isn't walking away from his past. He's walking straight back into it. If Gigi's secret comes out, Harrison won't just be heartbroken, he could be dragged into a spiral that ends with prison, or worse. And the writers know exactly what they're doing. Dexter has always been about legacies, about how the sins of one generation poison the next. For Harrison and Gigi, that theme could explode into the deadliest twist yet, because their shocking connection isn't just romantic, it's deadly. So the real question is this: will Harrison uncover Gigi's truth before it destroys him, or will he repeat his father's fate by letting love blind him to the monster right beside him? What do you think? Is Gigi really the Ripper's daughter, or is this another brilliant misdirect? Drop your theories in the comments, and let's see how deep this rabbit hole goes. The New York Ripper is the most terrifying mystery Dexter Resurrection has given us so far. But what if I told you that every major clue about his identity is already hiding in plain sight? From the gruesome murder weapon to a chilling 5-year disappearance, this killer isn't just another shadowy villain. The writers have already left a trail of evidence, if you know where to look. So today, we're breaking down every single clue you might have missed about the New York Ripper. And by the end of this video, you'll have a clearer picture of who this killer might be, and why Dexter Morgan could be standing right in his path. The Ripper's legend begins with blood. 22 confirmed victims, every single one of them disemboweled. This wasn't sloppy violence, it was ritualistic, a signature that made his crimes impossible to ignore. And the weapon he used? A long rod with a hooked end, something between a crowbar and a manhole cover tool. Brutal, precise, and chillingly efficient. This detail alone tells us two things. First, the Ripper wasn't improvising. He knew exactly what kind of weapon would inflict maximum horror, and second, he took pride in his methods. The fact that this very weapon somehow ended up in Leon Prouder's trophy collection should make every Dexter fan pause. How does a so-called true crime collector just happen to own the Ripper's signature tool? Coincidence or confession? But the murders tell only half the story. What makes the Ripper even more terrifying is what happened after he stopped killing. For 5 years, there were no fresh victims, no new disembowelments. And yet, his grip on New York City never loosened because he shifted his obsession from bodies to minds, tormenting the families of his victims with haunting phone calls. Imagine that. Years after burying your loved one, the phone rings, and the Ripper's voice is still there to remind you. Here's where it gets interesting. That voice analysis. Investigators described it as belonging to a Caucasian male in his mid-30s to 40s. No accent, calm, controlled, and deliberate, which means we can start crossing names off the list. It's not Blessing. His Sierra Leone accent would be impossible to hide for years. It's not Charlie or any of the female suspects either. The evidence narrows the pool down to someone far more familiar, Jonah Mitchell. The name alone sparks debate. Last time we saw him back in Nebraska, he was wielding a hook-like tool against Dexter with surprising skill. His age now lines up perfectly with the voice profile, and his cold, calculated tone back then, identical to the description of the Ripper's calls. The problem is the timeline. Official records suggest Jonah was killed years ago, long before the Ripper's spree, unless, of course, those records were wrong or deliberately covered up. And yet that's not the only theory. Because what if the Ripper really did stop? Not because he chose to, but because he's already dead. Think about it. Those phone calls could easily be pre-recorded, set to play on certain dates. No slip-ups, no traceable details, just a ghost haunting his victims from beyond the grave. If that's true, the real question becomes, who's sending them? An accomplice? A successor? Or someone using the Ripper's legend as camouflage for their own crimes? This is where Detective Claude Wallace enters the picture. Her obsession with the Ripper case defines her career, and it could also destroy it. She's been chasing this ghost since the early days of her time on the force, and in her lectures, she lays out every detail she's gathered, details the Ripper himself could be watching, using, even mocking. If Wallace is unknowingly revealing her progress, she might already be feeding the Ripper exactly what he wants. The parallels here are chilling. Remember LaGuardia, whose relentless pursuit of the Bay Harbor butcher led her straight into Dexter's trap? Wallace could be walking that same path. The closer she gets, the more dangerous it becomes. And unlike LaGuardia, Wallace isn't hunting Dexter. She's after a killer who delights in psychological warfare, someone who could break her long before he kills her. And this brings us back to the central question: who is the Ripper? The theories pile up, each more unsettling than the last. Jonah Mitchell, somehow alive, continuing his dark evolution into a prolific killer. A completely new character, someone with technical knowledge and resources designed to be Dexter's most elusive rival yet. Leon Prouder himself, hiding behind wealth, influence, and a collector's obsession that feels just a little too personal. Or the most shocking theory of all, Wallace herself. If the Ripper has been inside the investigation the whole time, her obsession would suddenly make horrifying sense. Every theory has problems. Every theory has red flags. But all of them circle back to one terrifying truth. The New York Ripper is unlike any antagonist Dexter has faced before. He's not reckless. He's not sloppy. He's deliberate, calculating, and possibly still out there, waiting for the perfect time to strike again. So here's where everything collides. Unlike the Trinity Killer or the Ice Truck Killer, the New York Ripper has managed to do what no one else in Dexter's world ever could. He vanished. He proved that he could kill, stop on a dime, and still haunt his victims from the shadows. That level of control isn't just rare, it's terrifying. And if you think about it, that makes him the most dangerous opponent Dexter could ever face, because Dexter's strength has always been control, his ability to blend in, to hide in plain sight. But the Ripper has already shown he can outdo Dexter in both. He walked away from murder, and yet his presence is stronger than ever. What happens when two predators like that finally cross paths? The answer may lie in one object: the hooked weapon in Leon Prouder's collection. That single piece of evidence is a ticking time bomb. If it's truly the Ripper's, then Prouder either knows who the killer is, or he is the killer. If the Ripper is still alive, seeing his weapon displayed like a trophy could be the spark that pulls him out of hiding. And if he's dead, the truth about how that weapon got into Prouder's hands could unravel a network of killers much larger than we imagined. For me, the most chilling possibility isn't Jonah Mitchell returning or Wallace being secretly corrupt. It's that the Ripper is still alive, watching and waiting. And when Dexter finally collides with him, it won't be just another hunt. It will be a battle of ghosts, two men who've mastered the art of living in the dark, fighting to see who gets to stay there. So now I want to hear from you. Who do you think the New York Ripper really is? Did you spot clues I didn't cover here? Drop your theory in the comments. And if you're still watching, type Dark Passenger so I know you caught every detail. Story forever.